video topic's going to be Revolution. Kind of their intro, my thoughts. Just going to talk about the makeup I am for Revolution, have a get ready with me, and we'll just talk about the news, delve into some articles, delve into my thoughts. So I'm using the Revolution primer, and that just went everywhere. Like, blob just dives kind of everywhere. Probably should just apply it to the brush directly, even though that's still quite messy. This primer is very runny, like a bit too runny, I'd say, to make it like actually not the best, I would say. In terms of formula's good, just in terms of the consistency, it's not the best. Like, obviously it's hydrating, like I am hydrating this one. So I have the Maybelline IRL Filter Foundation in F7. Went a shade 2 up. Probably like a shade lighter, so I do use Lightning Drops by Revolution. Like, this is a holy grail Revolution product. When I'm going for like a really dewy base, that's when I go for this. Should probably do need a bit more Lightning Drops. I'm just gonna grab a brush, swirl it around, kind of try and actually blend it in together so it actually comes together. I'm gonna put a touch more. This foundation's really good, like, really enjoy. Also the Lightning Drops are really good. So Angelica Nykovic did a video on which I have watched. Also Jen Loves Reviews did a video which I have watched, but not quite all the way through yet. Kind of watched Angelica's video just to see what I think, whether I thought there was anything to add, what it was about, and the topic interest. So I kind of thought I would share some thoughts, because I kind of do talk about Revolution products, not necessarily always for a good reason to be talking about their products. Like, I'm definitely not always saying like really positive things about So I'm just going to finish my foundation off, and then I'm going to delve into some articles. So I'm just blending that out. Probably won't talk about any makeup unless it's like Makeup Revolution. So Makeup Revolution, or known as Revolution Beauty, was warned of a material impact on its 2022 accounts on Thursday as results of ongoing audit. On the 2nd of August, it was announced that the results in its 12 months ended 28th of February were delayed to the 30th of August due to additional time required to complete the company's audit. At the time, it was said that it was not aware of any material issues raised by auditors during the process. On Thursday, it was said that its auditors had subsequently raised certain accounting issues with management regarding audit. I'm going to use my trusty Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I'm going to do my concealer. Which could have a material impact on the results for 2022's financial year that Revolution had previously communicated. In the event of the material adjustments are required, the group's profitability for 2022 could be materially reduced across a number of potential adjustments, including stock, bad debt provision, and revenue recognition, the board explained in a statement. Revolution said that the potential changes to results would not impact previous announced net debt positions of £21.2 million as at the 31st, as it treated that as it retained that its £40 million revolving credit facilities providing sufficient solidity for the future. Management also confirmed that guidance for the year ending 28th of February 2023 was set out in
a few moments later.
Management also confirms that guidance for the years ending set out announcement on the 2nd of August remains unchanged. The group continues to work structuredly with the auditors on the audit process and continues to aim for this to be complete by the 30th of August. The company will keep shareholders updated on this process and any revisions to the audit timeline. I will link all articles down below. Then another one, more news for company supplier Revolution Beauty from its audits, and the share price has nearly halved to £8.37. The company joined AIM less than 30 months ago at 160 pence a share. Businessy this is. So the share price has slumped by nearly 95%. Revolution Beauty has also warned on the 2nd of August that its 21 to 2022 results will be delayed and cut its expectations from 2022 to 2023. Poor retail demand in the USA and a loss of £9 million of Korean Russia revenues hit the early part of the new financial year. Online demand is switching to store sales, and costs increased have hit profitability that led to slashing its 2022 to 2023 pre-tax profit forecast by 64% to £6 million. Other auditors have come up with more problems which have materially affected on the 2021 to 22 results and significantly reduced the estimated pre-tax profit of £9.9 million. Revenue recognition, bad debt provisions, and stock provisions are involved. It may be difficult to finish the audit in time to respond to results by the end of August and was previously promised. So that's where we're at. Now about to do powder. I like the stuff I've bought from Revolution, but I don't really like everything, like I've noticed that not everything I do like. Just powdering. So it's these on. Smooth kind of dominant because it kind of didn't look the best. But I don't really like everything. Like this foundation, I'm about to do my bronzer, so find my bronzer brush. I use F7 as my shade. I do use lightning drops. But I find Revolution make their foundations look really light in the bottle when you get it home and it's like dark. Like really dark. And you find you get it, so. I've almost got it right, like I'm pretty sure I'm like one shade below for this. Me, so if you're not careful you can get the wrong shade. If you're just like me and you just look in the bottle, you probably will get the wrong shade if you're judging it purely based off what it looks like on a bottle. So probably won't talk much about any makeup products other than like the Makeup Revolution ones. Like everything I'm using here so far is not Revolution, other than the primer. Interesting thing. Definitely sounds a bit sketchy, but what the found out UK-based online fashion retail Boohoo has announced strategic investments in the beauty production company Revolution Beauty Group. The financial details of the transaction were not disclosed, but the investment will give Boohoo a 7.1 direct interest in Revolution's beauty huge share capital. This will make Boohoo the 4th largest shareholder. This is my favourite highlighter. This is the Revolution highlighter. I just take it on this brush and, well, need to blend it. In a statement, Boohoo said investments reflect Boohoo's beliefs in growth of potential of Revolution and intended to be a supportive stakeholder and long-term partner. Boohoo, if you're not sure what Boohoo is, it's like a fast fashion brand. So that was interesting what I read. It's interesting. This is something I only just come across like yesterday. Everything I read will be linked down below along with all the products I'm using. None of these are first impressions, they're all just poor sales in the USA. Ukraine and Russia, it's like they have their stuff. So in the USA, I will get onto this. I definitely do think these days there is a lot, especially in the US, a lot of competition in the makeup world. Like, there's so much competition, like there's so many different brands. Like there's a lot more brands than you'd think. Like, there is so many to choose from that you really have got to stand out to get noticed, and it's a lot about getting noticed and being remembered so people do repurchase. Gonna move on to another Revolution product. I have a couple of eyeshadow palettes. This one is a really good eyeshadow palette. This is the Sofx Revolution palette. I've hit pan on quite a few shades now. Definitely quite interesting what I have heard about the brand. And that's just quickly put my brushes back. So I'm gonna move this off my notes, off my computer where my notes are. So that's definitely interesting. One of my favourite products was the highlighter. This is also another favourite product, so it's like they do good products. It's not everything is good, and it's sort of getting to that point where it's a little bit more hit or miss. And there's so many products. It's also very interesting that they said they were going to make this profit and they didn't really have the numbers to back it up. Like, I thought it was going to be that, but it didn't turn out to be like that profit. The stock plummeted. The way Makeup Revolution today is valued in comparison to how Makeup Revolution was valued a year ago does say something. Like, it does sort of say a lot. Like, what I've really noticed is people do buy, like, aren't as inclined to buy Makeup Revolution because the quality is not nearly as good as it was. Like, I feel like some of the products these days are not as good as other products. Like, definitely does say something when the stock plummeted. Like, I have swatched these shades before. I will swatch my highlighter. I can't use my other hand. That's amazing, this swatch. It's quite a good highlighter. Admittedly, it's probably a bit more like glittery, but it looks very cool in the pan. So now we're going to get more into like kind of my thoughts of the brand, even though I've given some already. I don't really watch tons of review videos, but the ones I have seen mostly tend to involve a Make It Revolution product. And you kind of have started seeing, definitely I've started seeing in review videos that it doesn't perform as well as it was expected to perform. Like, you expect it to be really good and then it just isn't. Like, that's a poor show. Also, the formula is not as good. Like, when it's not good, people are just not going to want to buy it. Like, I don't really buy things when the formula's not good. Like, I'm even less inclined to buy stuff if the formula's bad. Also, people just remember brands that are not good as the brand with the bad formula. Like, doesn't exactly get you known for being that good. Like, I don't think any brand really wants to be known as like the brands that's got the bad formula or anything like that. I'm gonna use another palette as well. Use my MUA palette. Also, these days there are so many different brands. Like, you've got your indie brands, you've got your drugstore brands, you've got your luxury brands, you've got your high-end brands. There's so much to choose from. And if the formula is not good, you're not going to be the brand that necessarily gets chosen, because you'll be like, yeah, that's not really a good formula, I'm not going to use that. So Makeup Revolution is definitely known for being like that accessible brand, like that brand that's very accessible to lots of people, very affordable, like at a good price. Cute packaging, like you get good cute packaging for a good quality price. A good price. Like, obviously the quality is not always bad all of the time, like I don't think it is that case, but there's definitely occasions where it has been bad. And it is at a point where it is just far too much product wise that Makeup Revolution do release. Like, they're like the Colourpop, but without the quality sometimes. But obviously I've read reviews on Superdrug, and it's like some of it is really good and some of it is just so bad. And you never can tell unless you like know what to buy that's good, or you've like read reviews. Like, the thing Makeup Revolution you need to do is read reviews to see what's good and what's bad. Now, obviously there are good things like the palette I'm using. Like, everything I've bought, I've been lucky that it's really good. But it's like not every product is like that. Like, obviously you get the odd bad product, but you want most of it to be good. notice a lot that you hear about Makeup Revolution is like the packaging is cutesy, but the actual makeup's not always the best. Like, especially like cute nostalgia is definitely the direction they've like gone in. Find also Makeup Revolution, a big thing I've noticed is they don't really stick to the themes. They did a Simpsons palette, and that I don't feel like was actually didn't really show the Simpsons. Like, the picture on the screen, it's like, where's the yellow? Like, where is it? Like, don't even think there was a yellow in that palette. And like, the Simpsons are yellow, like yellows and purples and that. Instead it just turned into like another rainbow palette. So their collections are very big. You can have up to like 2 to 4 eyeshadow palettes in a collection. But that is just a bit too much. Also, the Simpsons palette, I feel like just turned into another rainbow palette. Like, just another bog standard rainbow palette that was just going to join the other rainbow palettes. Like, that's what it felt to me, was just, it's just another rainbow palette. It's not anything special. I think it personally isn't the best. Like, you seem to get cutesy and you seem to get ugly with Makeup Revolution, I find. As well. Like, things either look ugly or things look cutesy or things just look really off theme. There's also other better quality brands, like I get a lot more makeup from like Maybelline, MUA, Barry M, and I used to think Makeup Revolution was such good quality, but then when I watched a video and saw a review of the Lion King eyeshadow palette, I'm like, the colours were so muted. I'm not sure what eye base she used. It was not good. Which was such a shame because the packaging was cute, like you thought it was gonna be really good. So like the colours were just so wishy-washy, and like, you just want the colours to like actually pop. Just fixing a mistake. Also, there's so much choice that I just find sometimes, like, I'll spend ages in Superdrug just trying to decide what to get, and then I just never buy anything other than, like, once because there's, like, a deal. Like, there's not always the incentive there to actually buy anything. Because there's so much and I can't decide. It's like, what's good, what's bad, what's mediocre, what's average, that kind of stuff. Also, if the product's not good, it just quite often ends up just being wasted. that's a product that's money spent on it and it's not been good, and not really much use. Like, it's one of those where it's a case of, would you buy Makeup Revolution or a brand that you know and like? And most people's answer is like the brand they know and like, unless Makeup Revolution is your favourite brand. But obviously from other brands there's always going to be stuff that I wouldn't rebuy, but I find that would I buy the Makeup Revolution mascara that I saw, like the 5D mascara, or would I buy my trusty favourite Maybelline Sky High? And use a bit of this eyeliner on the top. These are not even wings at all. But I would buy my Maybelline Sky High because that's trusted, whereas with Makeup Revolution, some of their mascaras, it's like, I don't know. Because to be honest, I don't really know much about their mascaras. Got a little mascara mistake. Kind of ended up smudging it slightly. Makeup Revolution, it's like, I know nothing about their mascara. Maybelline Sky High, it's like it's known as a really good mascara, so Maybelline are like known for their mascaras. Makeup Revolution, you just think of these like nostalgic collections that are either gimmicky or ugly looking. Like, I've talked a lot about them in like ugly makeup palettes. Because I'm like, some of them were so ugly. Like, you had the Lion King palette that was like gimmicky and the quality just was not, like, really just not there at all. Like, far too wishy-washy. And they look really pigmented in the pan. Or you had like the Bratz where all the shadows were laid out and looked so ugly. Just there's like the 3 in the middle and big, and everything else was kind of smaller. think my makeup just slid off there, so let's just buff it back in. There are also like other nostalgic collections where it just looked like The Simpsons. But the character's face had just been slapped on and it turned into just another rainbow palette or another neutral palette. Like, it didn't really give anything themed around the colour. Makeup Revolution, they have like sub-brands. So we'll get on to talking about that. Makeup Revolution sub-brands are like I Heart Revolution, Revolution Pro, Revolution Skincare, Planet Revolution, Revolution Haircare. I had Freedom at one point. I think today I'm gonna go for tons of lip product. I'm gonna go for this one today. So my lips look a bit nicer because I've got concealer lips, so it's kind of in my lips but better plumping gloss. Also, it's like you don't realise how many sub-brands there are. But there's no way you can know what every sub-brand product is released because there's just sort of no way to know because it's like there's so many that it's like they don't even really market these products. Like, there's so many that even Revolution, it's like harder to market them. Like, the only products I've really been interested in have been the big Maxi Reloaded palette and the 5D Lash mascara, but I have other mascaras that are better. Like, you should see my mascara collection, like, it's ridiculous. Also, Makeup Revolution's definitely turned into like the Too Faced of like the drugstore. I do have a couple of videos on Too Faced if you want to know more. In terms of Makeup Revolution, they're like the Too Faced of the drugstore. They're like Too Faced of the quality, in terms of the quality, but their colour pop in terms of the quantity. It's like rushed, and also we're going to talk a little bit about their copycat kind of branding that they've always kind of had. Like, they've always done it, like they copy something else. Makeup Revolution, walking into Superdrug, as you can see, it like in vlogs it captures, like that's the first thing you see. And nothing really stands out because there's just so much. Obviously, lots of brands have sub-brands like Tarte with Sugar Rush, Fenty with Fenty Makeup, Fenty Skin, Fenty Hair. But those sub-brands that Makeup Revolution do, not the best. Some of the products are like worse than other brands. I find art I Heart Revolution just looks very gimmicky, very copycat-y, like they're copying Too Faced. They have the heart-shaped packaging, which is very similar to Too Faced. And I just don't understand what they need to copy. Like, they could be a brand that had a trend, but they just didn't really go along with that. Like, they kind of never shaped off the copycat branding and that. The biggest thing, other than the quality, is their likability. Like, the fact they have copied makes them a lot less likable, because they've copied like different size brands. Like, they've copied like Luna Beauty, Manny MUA's brand, Too Faced with their chocolate bar palettes, also shaped packaging. They have like heart-shaped highlighters, bronzers, blush. Like, that's the thing they've done good, is like their highlighters, bronzers and blush. But they kind of just do so many of them. Like, it's far too many. Got Revolution definitely was never really a brand that was known for starting trends. It's kind of known as like a duping brand. They did do some different colour stories, but the packaging copied Too Faced that it's like really hard to see through the packaging into the colour story and be like, yeah, that's not been copied. Like, it is very difficult. And it was hard because some of their products are good. They have done their own stuff. But you kind of have to see through in order to like them, the copycat. And it's like, it kind of has recently happened. Like, they copied Manny MUA and Luna Beauty with the highlighters, and don't really have a problem with taking inspiration or adding to a trend, but I'd only do that if there's something you can add to that trend. That's what I'd say. Copying every kind of makeup brand. Got Revolution now are at that point where it's like they do weird collabs like The Simpsons, Bratz, Love Island. So the Love and palette was just a pop of blue, yellow and pink, and it was just neutral. Also, their Powder Puff Girls. Got Revolution's definitely not one of those brands I'm like ever like, ooh, I'm excited to buy from. Like, they have got some good products, they've got some bad products. Like, when you see one bad product, it's like, will there be any more? What else is not good? Also, it's like, just doing cute collabs is kind of not really enough to be remembered in like always a good way. There's like more brands I'm attracted to, like Maybelline. I'm even been attracted to Urban Decay recently. Then Makeup Revolution, like Barry M and MUA, they have such good quality. Brands are definitely stepping up their game, like Elf and Wet n Wild and all these other drugstore brands that years ago didn't necessarily have the best quality, but they really had to up their game to stand out and stay in the makeup market. Like, the purple blush is like the only thing that stands out, but there are other brands that do purple blush, so it's like, would I go to them for their purple blush, or would I go somewhere else? I find with a brand, it's like, if you have a good track record, you're more likely to go there because you're not going to want to waste your money. Makeup, there is lots to choose from, like, so much. I don't think Make a Revolution's all bad. There are bad products, but there's good products too. Though there's this packaging and the quality does need to match up to the actual packaging. Like, it's one of those things where the makeup market is big, there's so many great brands. You don't really want your competitors to overtake you because they're doing really well and you're not. Like, the situation Revolution should be thinking about is what does work, what doesn't work. And it's like, do you want to be a gimmick? Do you want to be a good quality brand, or do you want to be samey and not have much variety? All these things. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It has made some sense. Hope you found it a good video. And before I go, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and good luck if you're getting your GCSE results. I will have probably put something about that at the start of the video. So I hope you've enjoyed. Bye.